You
But
had The House is Burning, I think you had that as like the number 3 album of last year.
yeah, if not for Nas, it would have been the album of the year last year. That's why I'm excited in a certain type of way because what just happened with him, and this is why I want to talk about it, Mike. It's like, oh, well, he's one Nas pinnacle year away from really having the album of the year in this culture, in my opinion. So how are we going to deal with and unpack these issues?
Well, all right, to kind of piggyback off of that, just from the letter that Kendrick Lamar put out, right, when he's talking about leaving TDE,
Mm-hmm.
and then The House is Burning, I think was already out at the time, but it made me feel like Isaiah Rashad is the future of TDE.
Right.
And for people who don't know, there was a tape of him leaked that showed sexual exploits that didn't involve women, right? And so
Right.
I don't. This is like the first time this has ever happened to hip hop. Not to say that he's the only person in hip hop that has that preference or whatever, but it's the only time that somebody's really been like blasted with the visuals. So not really sure what that entails for the future of his career. You know,
I'm worried and I'm
positive or
fascinated, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no,
I'm
no,
worried.
go ahead. I was just gonna say like we don't know. I mean, I think most people assume that it's going to be a positive for his career numerically because people have seen what's happened with Lil Nas X and all of that. But we don't know, and it'll be interesting to see where
Well,
this takes it from here.
well, that's what I'd like to say. Well, Lil Nas X isn't respected in this community the way that Isaiah Rashad is as an MC. Lil Nas X isn't attached to a credible rap entity like TDE the way Isaiah Rashad is. And Lil Nas X damn sure ain't made nothing like The House is Burning in his life on some rap shit.
Yeah.
So these are serious issues that actually need to be addressed in my estimation. And here's why. And I'm going to say this again. In my opinion, if not for Nas having arguably the greatest year of his career, and I think he's the greatest rapper of all time, the guy who is currently being, in these in this media circus because of his sexual preference and orientation. Oh well, he also just arguably dropped the album of the year last year, in my opinion. If Nas doesn't exist, and so we're in a different place in this culture where I think different things need to start being unpacked. I'm going to speak to something right quick. Like, I'm from the west side of Charlotte. It's where my family's from. It's old school there in terms of the belief systems and the values. A lot of my homies who I've rapped with back in the day that are from Charlotte that taught me what I know have hit me up over the years when I've been in Atlanta, and they've quite frankly just asked me, "Yo, Coop, how you dealing with the gay shit? How you dealing with the homosexuality?" One of my homies, one of my dear friends, the guy who taught me how to rap, is like, "Yo, Coop, how you surviving in Sodom and Gomorrah?" So this is an issue within our community in terms of the respectability and the viability of it. Because I got dudes from my hood checking on me like, "Yo, you ain't fucking with that dumb shit, are you?" Get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is what they don't know and haven't been exposed to in terms of how this world works. But some of that is the permeation of the culture. And so this is a good time and a good place to address these things, because if this is a guy that's capable of making the album of the year, with Nas is having one of the best years of his career, then there's no reason for him to go anywhere. And so I'm fascinated about what's about to happen next. I talked about him more than I talked about any other artist who you would consider to be new last year, didn't I, Mike?
Yeah, you did. You were really high on the album. Like I was,
So I'm fascinated to
and
see
and
what's
I'm high on the album too. Like
a great album.
I mean, like I said, it's I mean, I don't think that I think that the fans changing or whatever. I think that that sense is a little bit overrated, right? I think that we've all listened to people who've had all kind of preferences as long as the music's good. Like we can even I mean, I know he's never came out like this or anything, but even when Young Thug was dressed in crazy, questionable, and all that, no one cared as long as the music's good, right? Um,
Not true, Mike.
oh, Mad Max has something to say. He said Lil Nas X gets promoted differently than Isaiah Rashad.
That's
LOL, he's a pop star, and that's true. So that's why this is a lot different. This is
that's
really on some Boondocks. What is Gangstalicious type of stuff, right?
right.
That's exactly what this is, and so I think that this is what I hope doesn't happen. I hope that Isaiah Rashad doesn't change the way he's making music.
Right.
And so and that's the thing with Lil Nas X or whatever. When he had Old Town Road, we didn't know any of that stuff, and as soon as that comes out, then it gets extreme, and it's like all that stuff changes. And so I hope that Isaiah Rashad's music consistently stays what it's been, and he evolves from there as he's been doing, and not let any of this stuff change any of that.
But what I'm saying is about what part of this is fascinating is that if he makes another album like The House is Burning and there's not a KD2 or Magic out there, is he gonna get it? That's what's on the table now, because what I'm saying is with him making an album of that level, where we have his album sectioned into all-time great MCs like Nas and AZ, super credible MCs like Tyler and Sky Zoo, guys who have established themselves like Boldy and Westside and Conway. When we are putting his album above most of these guys and right next to these guys, if he makes an album of this nature again and there's not a KD2 or Magic out there, is he going to get what he deserves as an MC is what my real question
We'll
is.
have to see, and we'll have to see how the music resonates with the people. I think that's the biggest
and also,
thing.
Too, it's like, and this is what I mean. There's a record on The House is Burning, Chad. It's my favorite record on there. It's a shout out to Pimp C. Do you think UGK fans who know how Pimp C was will take that record the same way anymore? You get what I'm saying?
I feel you. It's different.
Yeah, it's different. And so I'm fascinated by it because there's so much to unpack from it moving forward. I think people are stuck on the visual aids, which you and I haven't seen, and I don't want to see them. And I don't think you do either, because we've just heard enough explanations about what's going on to kind of know what's going on. But that also goes back to something that I was telling you when I used to rap, Mike. Oh, the homies that I was plugged to told me there's the party that dudes and you and me go to, Coop, and then there's a party them other dudes go to. And I ain't gonna say who at them parties, but it's like you got to drop your phone and your ID at those parties about stuff like this not happening to you. Correct.
And honestly,
I could be live and I could call names if I wanted to, but let's not. He is not the only one by far. Because
no. And see, the thing is, though,
love out here like that. So
there's a reason why, how do I say this? There's a reason why these alleged gatherings happen where they know that they can have this over a person, right? Or whoever can have this over a person, and if this got out, then they know publicly it would be an adverse effect. But see, we're here now, and we're going to have to see if the public does adversely respond to this. But again...
But this might be good for him too, Mike, because here's the flip side to it. There are certain artists that I know for a fact that have stepped out here and have to do work with certain people that they might not even work with anymore about something that they did early on in their career that's caught on tape that people know about, that they don't ever want to get out. Yeah. So you're going to see certain people always working with certain people, and you think that it's love, and it's not. It's extortion.
Yeah, I could see that.
Straight up.
Well, see, that's the thing too, though, Coop. If let's just say that an artist like this, who wasn't marketed in this way, can get through a situation like this, then the level of extortion changes.
Yeah, and and Mike, also too, there's some, to quote Kendrick Lamar's song that you love so much, there's some hood politics to this too that needs to be discussed, and here's the hood politics of it. I had a dear friend of mine who is from one of what I like to call the black meccas in America. And I'm not going to shout out which mecca it is because there's only a few black meccas in America.
Right.
Detroit, Chicago, DC, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go New Orleans or Houston on a personal level after that. My friend is from one of those places. That is her hometown. I remember her very vividly telling me how her hood works. Some of the toughest guys that you see standing out on the block and serving and living that life and doing all that stuff that you talking, that these rappers talk about, oh Mike, they walk in the house. When they step off the block, they put on a pink tank top, they hop in another dude's lap, and it's as feminine could get, and that part of it is real too. And that's going on in our neighborhoods, and everybody that's really, really been on the block know what I'm talking about. There's shit everywhere. So like, let's not. That's why I'm fascinated by it, because he's in a rare position of being the type of rap artist who actually makes the type of rap music that resonates with the rap community on a block level. And I want to see how the block is going to feel about him moving forward, because the block been letting certain dudes sit out here on these corners and serve all the time and walk in the house and do their thing. I wonder if Isaiah Rashad is going to get it to walk in the house and do his thing. And Mike, now the house is really burning.
Way to wrap that up as a true writer. Yeah, now the house is burning.
That's a freestyle too, Mike. That's off the top.
You had that planned the whole time.
I really didn't. I really did just freestyle that. I ain't even opened up my notebook yet.
Listen, man. Like I said, we haven't been here at this place in hip hop before. It'll be interesting to see, where it goes from here. Because even though he is dope on the mic, and I guess I shouldn't say that. Pause. Right. Even though his music is dope and he can rhyme, it's not like he's one of the elite MCs that we view, and I think that, but it's getting to that point, right?
It was trending that way with this album. That's what I'm saying. How is the trend going to go? Because, Mike, if you want to ask me who got next, I would tell you him and Russ based on what I heard last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. We just going to have to see.
So do he still got next? That's what I'm saying. Because, like, based on the material, he should have next.
We'll see a lot with this next effort.
Yeah, we are. And I want to see him kind of dig in and double down and move past all of this. It's like, okay, so now we know what we know. You're still dope. You still make dope music. You gonna let this affect you?
Well, all right. Let's address
this.
Let's address the elephant in the room here.
Lots to unpack.
Let's just address the elephant in the room here. I think that hip hop draws to young men, period, but specifically young black men, because it oozes with masculinity, and that's a big part of hip hop music, period. And I think that's one of the struggles with female MCs, even early on, when they had to even come across some sort of masculine way to even be heard. We talk about rap voices being strong all the time. We talk about the music blaring in a tough way, and even when you talk about rappers, speaking of the opposite sex, and and coming across masculine in that way too, and just the way that the subject matter comes across. He can't do those things as far as making a song about women and be believable at this point. It would have to change, right?
Right. That's what I mean.
And so, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm just gonna keep it real. Somebody mentioned Frank Ocean in the chat. I mean, that Forrest Gump song, I wasn't listening to that. I wasn't.
Frank Ocean don't have no credibility like this.
But I'm just saying, me personally, as a heterosexual male, I'm just not trying to hear a male rapper talk about another guy. I'm just probably not. I'm just.
There is that part of it too. That's what I mean. This is so fascinating in terms of where he's at in his career and what he's going to do. And in a way, it's like, I'm kind of sad for him, Mike, because it's like, if you've been reading the blurbs the past year about what his reputation was within the TDE camp before he dropped this album, well, he's already been dealing with a lot. But then when you listen to all the things that he's been dealing with, it's like, oh, well, is that tied to some of the issues and some of the struggles too? So it's so much to unpack. But the main thing is, and this is what I mean. So according to hip hop, is about the people, right? I want to hear what the people think about his music next time around and what type of shot he's about to get. That's really going to be key.
And I want to clarify too, I ain't listening to Lil Kim's records where she's talking about doing this and this and this with a guy either. So I mean, it just doesn't. It's not something that I'm riding around bumping. So.
No, Mike, and you've spoken to the fact that the main reason that it's hard for you to listen to a female MC's album from beginning to end is about the sexual rhetoric and content that you just don't care to hear. Not even if you don't like the MC or not, you just don't care to hear those things wax poetic on record because you can't relate to it, which is another reason why I told you Funk Defy and Rhapsody by Eve are probably my two favorite rap albums, because it doesn't have those issues. You can
Unknown Name says that in 2022 his sales will double and his audience will change.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
His
people.
audience changing, I don't know if it's a good
I
thing
mean,
for him, like
like
the pace
do
that
y'all know
he's going.
do y'all know who his CEO is? Who started his company? Do you know where this label is coming from? Do you know what their reputation? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
He's tied to the most street credit. He's tied to the label on the West Coast with the most street credit the last 10 years. Period.
Yeah.
He comes from a place, and I know because you've been to that place, and I've been to that place too, Mike. This is not the type of behavior that is accepted where he's from.
Well, he's from Chattanooga.
Mike, I'm gonna say that again.
Oh,
Where
okay,
he's
yeah.
from, because you've been there and I've been there, Mike. Is this the type of thing that they accept in their community?
Huh?
Right. So that's why I mean this is all very, very fascinating because I've been to Mike. So I'm gonna tell people where I'm at. I can get to Chattanooga an hour from where my house is right now. I can hop in the car and be in Chattanooga in an hour. So, like, I know what it's like right there.
I mean, look, it's gonna be interesting.
Hour from the crib. Yeah. Like, it's gonna be interesting. Like, I know how to get down to Chat. Mike, I know what it's like when I go in Chattanooga sometimes and go look at a car or go to a gas station or eat at a restaurant.
It's gonna be interesting to see. It's I don't want to quote you and say problematic, but it could
no, it's
be
very problematic, Mike. If you wasn't gonna say it, I was going to. Very problematic.
All right, so we covered the Super Bowl.
Check.
We covered Kung Fu Kenny not coming out with anything.
Chicky,
we
check.
Covered the Tupac halftime hologram and what songs we're probably gonna hear. We talked about Snoop and we talked about this Juicy J and Wiz.
Gangsta Party, check.
Who's gonna win the Super Bowl Sunday?
My family on my dad's side is from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm a rock with Ohio. We're gonna go with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got some shades of Tom Brady going on. And I think that he's about to shake up the world. He's a winner, Mike. Some guys are just winners, and you can't fade winners. And I want you to understand, this guy got sacked 9 times against the number 1 seed. You couldn't fade him. He's playing against the most talented quarterback of all time, probably not the best, but the most talented quarterback of all time in the toughest environment in the NFL to play, and he can't be faded. You think he's going to be faded by going to L.A. and playing the Rams? It's like, I'd be afraid if I was the Rams. Because the adversity that he faced to get here,
he got nothing to lose.
He got nothing to lose. He about to go out here and gunsling on y'all because he's like, nobody expect the Bengals to be in no Super Bowl my second year. You about to let this thing fly. They need to be ready.
Did you get a chance to listen to City of Gods and Worst Day? Because people are asking us if we heard that.
Yeah, I did. Not enough to give it fair critique stuff.
Okay, that's fair. Kanye did his thing on the record, but I'm just not a big fan of 504, and I'm just not.
He has his moments.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm rooting for the Bengals. I hope they can pull it out. Shout out to Joe Burrow. He is a winner. Matt Stafford's UGA. I remember seeing Matt Stafford play when he was in UGA. I went to one of the games. He lost that game. That was against South Carolina.
I'd say probably South Carolina or Tennessee or Alabama or Florida or every other team he lost to because he was always 8-3 or never won nothing. But whatever.
I'm rooting for the Bengals, but it looks like on paper, it looks like the Rams are set up to win it.
No, I'm going to tell you what the problem is for the Rams. Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
He's too slow to guard Jamar Chase, and they're going to have to put him on Bigby. And that means Jamar Chase is going to be free. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Jalen Ramsey is not fast enough to stay with Jamar Chase. So the only way that he is going to stay with him is if they let him be physical. Because if Jamar Chase gets free, this game is over. Jalen Ramsey cannot stay with Jamar Chase, like on a speed-to-speed, shifting in and out of breaks level. And so the game for me lines on how Ramsey plays when he lines up with Chase right there. Because Chase is the type, like, I don't know if I've seen anybody since Randy Moss has a receiver where I'm like, this guy might catch 2 balls and he can change the outcome of this game. Like, if he catches 2, as in he can catch 2 passes the entire game and change what's going on with the game. They need to be careful because all that blitz and stuff that the Rams like to do, don't let that dude be out there wide on Ramsey one-on-one when you do that. He is going to be about 3 yards past Ramsey. It's going to be a touchdown.
I can't wait to see it, man. One last thing before we get up out of here. What do you think about that Brooklyn and Philly trade? James Harden going to the Sixers, and you know.
So, I mean, before Kevin Durant got hurt, this was probably, to me, his greatest achievement, because I'm just going to say this now. The James Harden that we're used to seeing, we're never going to see on a consistent basis ever again.
Mm-hmm.
He's 34 years old with a lot of mileage
Is
and
he
wear.
34? I thought he was 32.
No, he's 34.
Oh, man.
A lot of wear and tear and mileage. These hamstrings keep popping up. He's not big on working out in the off season. He is big on partying and smashing your girl and smoking cigars and doing whatever else in the off season. Like one of our favorite players, Charles Barkley. Remember how Charles Barkley's career ended and how we were talking about Charles? Be like, damn, if he just would have taken care of himself in the off season more, he would have been able to hold up. I see that
He's
happen.
32, but he kind of seems to be 34.
When is he 33, Mike?
Yeah, he'll be 33 this year.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
33 this year.
Yeah.
All right. So he's 33. He came out when? 2006?
No, I don't think it was that
Oh,
long.
2008. 2008.
I think it might have been 8.
8, right? So he's in year what? Point guard, Mike. This ain't KD or LeBron. You see what's
Ben
happening?
Simmons is much younger than him. I'll put it that
That's
way.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
How about this? So hold on. Let's look at 3 guys right now who have been probably the 3 best point guards for their era. Have you seen how Steph Curry's been shooting the ball the second half of the season? That's age, Mike. You see how Russell Westbrook looks, Mike? That's age,
You
Mike.
called him Westbrook.
You see, yeah, for a reason. You see how Harden looks? That's age, Mike. You want to know why you can't see LeBron and KD's age like that? They're 6'9" and 7 feet, Mike.
That's real.
That's
what I try
real.
to tell people, man.
Kevin Durant doesn't have to jump for the next 5 years, and he can go get you 25 points. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry are not going to be able to say that. Steph Curry started off the season averaging the same number of points as Kevin Durant, and each month dropped off a point. He is 6'3". He is 30. He might be the one that's 34.
He might be.
Hold on.
Is
Those
Steph
guys
34?
are all those guys are 33, 34, 35 in that order, probably. Harden might be 33. Westbrook might be 34. Curry's 35. They're old.
How old is Curry? I'm looking it up, man.
Curry's older than Durant.
I think he is.
He
No,
is.
he's 33. He'll be 34 next month.
So Curry's the one that's 34. Curry's about to turn 34. Pretty certain Westbrook's already 34. Harden's 33. They've been playing in the NBA on a point guard level, bringing the ball up the court for 10, 12 years. Wear and tear. Wear and tear. So the fact that Brooklyn just got a 6'10" point guard who is not even 30. And
Who is not even trying to shoot.
Who is not trying to shoot when you have the best. Mike, I have never seen somebody shoot on every aspect of the court like Kevin Durant. As in, like, wherever you want him to shoot, because he can shoot better than almost anybody else right there, except for Steph and Clay at the three-point line, and not far behind them at that. So the fact that this guy is with that team, like, Mike, I want you to understand something. I don't care about Kyrie. They got the other Curry there with KD and Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what that means. They got somebody to guard Giannis to keep KD fresh. Right. People are forgetting that. This is about Giannis. Ben Simmons is officially guarding Giannis now.
Yeah, and he can. Westbrook is 33. He'll be 34 at the end of this year.
These guys are old. So all these guys are 33 going into 34, Mike. That's for point guards, Mike. For point guards that play the way that they play, because they rely on scoring points, unlike Chris Paul, they're not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is prone to getting hurt. I would not be surprised, Mike. Listen to what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised if Brooklyn won this year, because what they really need is defense and rebounding. And they just got a guy that provides them that and can handle the ball and lead the break. KD almost beat Milwaukee with Harden limping up the court and Kyrie gone.
They got a lot in the deal. Didn't they get
2 first-round picks in the deal? What is Philly thinking? Y'all gave up Curry, Ben Simmons, and gave Brooklyn 2 first-round picks, and gave them a big man. They got another big man for rebounding, too. What's his name?
They got Andre Drummond.
They got Drummond. So let me get this straight.
Drummond can get you 20 rebounds, or at least he used to be able to.
So Brooklyn has Andre Drummond and LaMarcus Aldridge on their front line in the postseason to go with Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving part of the time. And Seth Curry, when Kyrie's not there, yeah, they can win the title right now. Philly's not going anywhere. Because when it's Harden and Embiid delivered for you in the playoffs?
It's a good question, especially Harden.
Hold on, people keep talking about what Ben Simmons did last year against the Hawks. What did Embiid do? Embiid was the best player on that team, not Ben Simmons. Like Simmons choked, Embiid faded in the fourth quarter of almost every game that mattered.
Again, man, I think we talked about this on the show briefly when it was happening, but I blame Doc for that. I mean, you saw Embiid out there playing in the perimeter. Like, why is he not in the paint? That's on the coach.
He's bigger than Olajuwon.
Yeah, that's on the coach.
Bigger than
I saw
Olajuwon.
I saw Embiid like around the circle shooting fadeaways and stuff. Like, nah, that's on the coach, man. You got to get him in the paint.
No. See, you know what that is? That's Kevin Garnett. He's bigger than Kevin Garnett. Get your ass on the block.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett's 225. You're 275. Get on the block. You belong on the block. Go on the block.
All right. Well, let's get up out of here, man. And I can't wait to see the Super Bowl halftime. And I'm sure we're going to, do like a recap of that and breakdown of that because it's going to be a great show.
I think that might be one of our more epic recaps because it's going to be fascinating to see who does what and why.
And I want to see if the songs that we pick were the ones that are going to be played.
I'm playing Still DRE in my head right now. It got me bouncing. Boom, 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 boom.
All right, y'all. Peace out. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the Super Bowl. And we're going to holler at y'all.
Peace.